Hey, how's it going? Two in one day, I know. I've been meaning to YouTube a bit more. Is that what the kids say, YouTube? I was reading an article earlier. Where was it at? I want to say it was on Huffington Post. I'll put the link into the description area for you to look at. But it talked about how, you know, sometimes if you still are fortunate enough to have trick or treaters come to your house, I know in my neighborhood now, last year we had four or five, really. I mean, as far as groups, there was a few more kids, but actual groups, and it was disappointing. Just like this kid crying in the background, ruining my sound, but that's okay. That's all right. Um, I noticed, especially when I lived in Texas, we had a lot of older trick or treaters, and at first I kind of questioned it, and that's what the article kind of goes into. Looking at 6 foot tall trick or treaters. For me, Halloween was and still is a very magical time. And I know that may sound silly to some. You know, we see around us all the time the infringement, as I like to call it, of Christmas starting to move in more and more every year, earlier and earlier. It really upset me a couple weeks ago. I mean, like, really upset me. Like, I was angry when I went to a Target in Kansas City, and I'm going to where I expect the stuff to be. Where they normally have the seasonal items, as they like to call them. And I saw in this was early October. I saw Christmas items before I saw Halloween items, and it really upset me because you know I'm not one that identifies with any religion. I'm smart enough to know that none of them can get it right because we just don't know. That's a whole other YouTube video, though. But when I see Christmas before I see Halloween, it just, the whole like space time continuum, man, it just gets, it's like it's all out of whack. I, I want each season to be each season still. Maybe that's just me trying to hold on to the past, a piece of history within myself. I remember vividly growing up in Tennessee, and everyone's Halloween experience is kind of different, especially where you live, because you know, uh, like when I lived in Tennessee growing up, just outside of Nashville, traditionally it was dark, probably around 5. Um, the weather was a bit chilly. Sometimes it was damn cold out. I remember a couple Halloweens where I was just freezing. Um, And as I kind of moved around in the Air Force, places like Louisiana and Texas, the temperatures weren't the same. It didn't get this dark as well. So there were a few things that were different. Like I can never, just like with Christmas or Thanksgiving or any other, we'll call them all holidays, including Halloween. You can't capture that essence in its entirety when you move somewhere else, just because not everything that you associate with that is going to be there. But um, it upset me greatly when I saw Christmas first because I want to experience that still. Again, I didn't grow up in the most religious household. My parents would identify as Christian. Um, some would say Catholic, maybe some others would say Baptist. Just kind of depends on the day. My dad would definitely tell you he's Catholic. I don't associate with either personally. I take from it, but it's not anything that I would say that I was one way or another. Again, that's for another video. But growing up, you had certain things that you were used to and you believed, and Christmas was a magical time. It seemed like every year I kind of got at least one thing that I really wanted. Couldn't have it all, obviously, but I always got like one thing I really wanted, whether it was from my parents or from my grandfather or something, or just that a feeling of together. There was a certain feeling that came with it. And the only thing that ever surpassed that feeling of Christmas morning for me was Halloween, especially like that week prior. Um, you know, I remember that kind of being the only time my parents kind of they almost gave me free reign. I don't even know if they realized they did it, but I had the ability to go and make scarecrows and things. I remember taking old clothes and stuffing them with newspaper and putting weird stuff in the yard. And that was like the one time of the year where I could do that. And, you had the smells that associated with it. The leaves are falling. There's piles of leaves everywhere, jumping in the leaves. That brisk fall Tennessee air. And then comes Halloween. Aside from trick-or-treating, which was always amazing, you come home with just entirely too much candy for any person. But then I remember, staying at home or going and trick-or-treating earlier, maybe later, but being back home and kind of putting some scares into people. And just, it wasn't just me. It was my sister. It was my neighbors. It was a tradition. It was a tradition. And it's a tradition that I keep seeing year after year kind of dwindle away. And I think that's probably why I do Ghostbusters and stuff as much as I do. And I've kind of caught myself lately where I don't want to do those things as much. Not because I grow tired of it, not because someone else is saying, it's like, hey, why are you dressing like that? But because I'm terrified of losing that magic again. Because that's what I keep feeling. As I've gotten older, everything, it's hard to, we'll go back to Christmas again. When you start seeing Christmas popping up in stores in late August, early September, and it did this year in many stores, it's really kind of hard to make magic from that. I remember vividly, again, growing up, Thanksgiving was an awesome time. We brought family together. And the thing that I always looked forward to about Thanksgiving was when Thanksgiving was over, that started the Christmas season. You didn't see Christmas displays up. You didn't see stuff at the mall. You didn't see Santa. You didn't see store displays and all that until after Christmas. Black Friday's evolved into a whole other thing, but you had a time period, a very collapsed time period where Christmas was. And that allowed for the magic, I believe. And I've recreated the magic a few times, not only for myself but for my kids. It's possible to do, but it's harder and harder each year. And as for Halloween, the magic has pretty much, sadly, almost disappeared. And that really upsets me because it gives kids that the same thing that I found in me dressing up as a Ghostbuster or Hellboy, whatever. It gives you that escape for one day out of the year. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter if you're smart, dumb, rich, poor. It doesn't matter what color you are. Nothing. One day out of the year, October 31st, you can be whoever or whatever you want. And no one's going to really question it. They're all just going to roll with it. And that's a beautiful thing. That's magic to me. So it may be cliche. It may be corny. I don't know. But I guess to close on, I want to bring Halloween back. I need you to help me. So what do you say? Can we bring Halloween back? Can we decorate the yards a little bit more? Can we have more fun? Can we not buy all the items that are Christmas items in August and September and October? We have the ability, we have the power. When we stop buying it, they stop providing it. So, I don't know. If only for Linus from Peanuts and the Great Pumpkin. Let's bring Halloween back. I think we deserve it. And I think our kids deserve it. Again, I'm going to leave a link in the description. Check out crunkpanda.com. That's where you can find me everywhere online. Thanks for listening. And until next time, Excelsior.